REX is a smart contract designed perfectly to create financial freedom for everyone, forever. Rex.io.
Okay, perfect. Wow. Welcome to today's live stream. I am Thomas, the founder of Rex, and today I'm here with Yonko, our Rex co-founder. Hi, Yonko.
Hi, everybody. Hi, Thomas. Great to have you here. Great to host this interview. It's going to be a brilliant discussion, exciting discussion about finance, REX, passive income, and the whole current crypto market situation, of course. I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be wonderful.
Yes, that's what I think as well. Thank you very much for being here, Yonko, and thank you very much for listening to this, everybody. I think you are here because it's about crypto. Maybe you are into crypto already, maybe you're not, maybe you're very new. So we're going to cut some of the topics today that is about basically the market situation, traditional finance a little bit, DeFi. What is decentralized finance? Why is that? We're going to talk about different options of how to create passive income, maybe, and of course, tell all of you something about Rex and the details, and why it's an interesting protocol for passive income, basically. So. I think we should just start right away with the market situation today and the current bear market that we all see. And so, Yonko, what do you think? Shall we just start with maybe an overview about the whole market situation and the bear market? What do you think?
Yeah, I think we have to do this because the bear market situation is something that is very interesting. Every time a bear market comes, it's a great opportunity for people to get advantage of this. So I think we can talk about, the current market situation, the overview of it, discuss some details, how you can take advantage of this, of course, and gives a little bit more details on how all that will turn up and how the current market situation will change probably in a couple of months, could be a year, who knows, but yeah, it will be interesting for sure.
Yes, absolutely. Just to have a look at all the whole situation, like the blue chips that we have out there, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and so on. And what we see right now is a very deep bear market, and the people are expecting it to last a little bit longer. So, yeah, what do you think, Yonko? How long will it last? Could you be more precise than just a couple of years or maybe just 1 year? Do you have more information on that for the people?
If you asked me this question a couple of years ago, I would answer to it in a very different way compared to my answer, right? So what we saw in the previous years was that a lot of people got hyped about crypto, they invested money in it, the prices went up like crazy, then the market crashed, and it stayed like that for a couple of years, 2, 3, 4 years. Sometimes the bear market is very long. However, I truly believe the current bear market situation will be completely different because when you see where is the blockchain right now compared to a couple of years ago, you can see this massive adoption, this movement. You can see even the regular people who doesn't have any experience in cryptocurrency industry, they're getting into the cryptocurrencies, they're learning more, it's becoming more of your daily life. So I think the current bear market, it may last 2 years, but in my opinion, it will probably end up somewhere next year.
Yes.
Probably at the end of the year, could be the mid-year, but definitely somewhere during the third and the fourth quarter. Of course, that's just my opinion, but let's see. It will be an interesting year, so we're gonna find this out, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. From my point of view, I think the next crypto bull run, like starting, will be earlier. Currently, they are printing money, a lot of money, and I think currently we're in the situation that they understand that this doesn't work any longer. So I think what we will be seeing in the next month, in maybe like 1 to 5 months in this direction, is a global recession, especially in the United States. I think Europe will come a little bit later, and we can also see this crisis in China with the properties, because they had this problem with financing their property, basically, when they built something, houses. And they had these restrictions on finance, right? So they had to like lend money from the future to have more money now. And this works very well as long as the wheels keep turning, right? So now they see this little problems with COVID, with the pandemic situation. And so they have less buyers, and now they have the problems financing. So I think the Chinese government will now support that and print money like for them, or like distribute the money to them, and have less for other programs. So this will be like a delayed problem compared to the crisis that we had in the United States, 2007, 2008. I think it will be that was really heavy, right? And there was this European banking crisis afterwards in 2008. And I think all of this will happen through China again, but more delayed and not that hard. Not in the US that hard, not in Europe that hard, but in the Asian countries, I guess. And this also plays a role. Also, the current situation in the United States. I think there are a lot of people talking about that at the moment. Everybody has some sort of feeling what happens right now, and I think the bottom will be there in terms of economics, all the stocks and bonds in like 2, 3, 4 months, something like that, and we will see a crisis like that we had in 2007, 2008. So, and I think it will be very hard for like 4 months maybe, and then we will be able to build up. I think the demographics in the United States are quite good. Europe has a problem because we have a lot of old people right there, like old rich people who basically have a problem with the demographics. The United States doesn't have that so hard as the Europeans, and so I think that we will see this global recession in like half a year to something like that. And when we then rebuild everything, the millennials, right, they will need to build the startups and recreate everything. There will be a new bull cycle, something like that. And I absolutely think that when we rebuild all those things, and when we come into the next like bull phase, rebuilding everything, hopefully changing systems, we have the chance then. I think we will see that the crypto market will be earlier than the stock market rising again, and earlier than the bonds market rising again. Crypto already is $1 trillion market, and it's accessible for the people, available to the general public. Everybody with a smartphone and an internet connection can get some crypto, and because we use the blockchain today for so many things, sometimes you don't even know there's blockchain protocols involved. And just because cryptocurrencies are like the currency on the blockchain, we will see massive net inflow into cryptocurrencies in the next month, and in terms of the recession, even earlier than the new rising of the stocks and bonds markets. So from my perspective, we will see from now on, like in September, we will have a bear market in crypto for the next weeks to month only. And I think we will be able to see some sort of net inflow then again. I think we could see that today. There was a net inflow of Bitcoin. I'm not quite sure. I haven't looked at the numbers. Maybe that's just a gut feeling. So that would be my summary of what's happening in the world right now. It's a very bad situation. But as you said before, Yonko, I think every bad thing has good side as well. Like every coin has its two sides, and so maybe maybe you have a different opinion. So what do you think, Jonko, about the situation? Did I reflect it quite well, or do you have something to add, or are you totally the opposite opinion? What would you say?
No, I would say you're completely right on so many things, especially when you talked about China, when you talked about printing money, because every time a country prints money, and we saw that in the last 2 years with United States, by the way, and
10 years.
because of COVID, they printed money. They had to give them to the people, or just put the money into the stock market or the cryptocurrency industry, and that definitely increased the prices, and it gives the chance to a new bull run. And if we see this opportunity again, it might be beautiful for the whole crypto market. Um, but what else I'm really excited about is that BlackRock is a company in United States, and it's basically the biggest investment company. So, right, they started investing in the blockchain industry, and more specifically Bitcoin, Ethereum, and that's always good because whenever you see big movements to the Bitcoin price and the Ethereum out to the Bitcoin asset and the Ethereum one, then you could very easily see all the other coins and tokens following them and setting the new bull run. So it might be earlier, who knows? We're all excited, but I think there are so many factors out there, and we are yet to get to know about them. But since we see printing money all the time, the inflation rises over the time. You just said that we are about to face a recession, and yes, the coin has two sides, and you could also take advantages of that recession. It's gonna be interesting. Let's see how long they're gonna keep this printing money and constantly seeing the market going down. At some point, it's gonna find its bottom, and then everything will stabilize for a moment, and then it's just going to get back up. But definitely interesting times, so very excited. And we just mentioned, by the way, Bitcoin, Ethereum. How do you feel about the new changes in the Ethereum protocol? They just switched from proof of work to proof of stake. Do you think there are any advantages of using proof of stake instead of proof of work? What's your opinion? What do you think about that?
Yes, as you know, I have been very busy with Rex in the last years, so I'm not that. I'm not reading all the news the whole day because the project takes so much time. I think everybody will understand that. You're very focused when you do something like Rex. But anyways, of course, I have an opinion. There was this big hope that the Ethereum gas fees would go down so that some protocols that use a lot of transaction or need a lot of transaction costs would maybe be more affordable to the broad masses. That would have been good, but actually I can see that this will not happen as far as I know. So that's, but anyways, having a proof of work consuming a lot of energy, it's surely better even with something like Ethereum is like, it's basically a new internet, right? So this is so massive and people all over the world use that more and more. And I think especially something like this one big supercomputer Ethereum should really, of course, take care of their gas fees. And I think Vitalik knows and everybody knows, quite sure they did everything they could do. Yeah, I mean, still we have layer 2, even layer 3 solutions for that. But I would have wished that Ethereum directly would cut down their costs. But yes, anyways, crypto is definitely, and like the whole blockchain technology is definitely something that is going to not only stay, but grow like crazy. You said they have been printing money for 2 years, and that's the second that I shouted 10 years, because we had this very big recession like almost 100 years ago. It was 1929, right? And they have let the whole economy die back then. And that's very important because you wash out all those companies who do not work any longer and their business models do not work. And now we had this problem in 2007 and 8, and because of our crazy financial system with all these interests being more and more and more and going parabolic, and at some point nobody can pay for that, for the to pay back the credits basically, and so the interests are being so high that the whole financial system collapses, and that happened throughout the centuries, like every 80 years. And in 2007 and 8, this should have happened. But what did they do? They did not let them die, the companies with the bad business models or old business models not working. But they printed money like crazy. And they gave all this, like old business model companies, money. And that's not okay, because they have to restructure. They have to adopt to what's happening today and how the world has changed. And they haven't. And so they have been printing money for a decade now. And what happened is there is so much money out there that not only the companies, but also the stocks, the prices in the stock market are way too high, is what I think. And they put all the money in those really crazy bonds and all those derivative financial products and all of those things. So there's so much money, like, I read the number the other day. It was 300 trillion. I don't know. That was a number that is not imaginable. And it's, of course, I think it's 10 times what the world produces in goods and services. Yes, they printed all this money. And of course, cryptocurrencies had some net inflow, and it's interesting to the people. And it's also very usable technology, the blockchain. We use that already for so many things. It's such a good technology. And basically with Ethereum and its smart contracts, this is the new internet. Nothing more and nothing less. And we will definitely see what you just said, a lot of new people joining, because basically, maybe because they have to, because there's no other technology available for, I don't know, if you're using your coffee machine and the coffee is empty, the coffee machine will order new coffee for you, depends on your settings, online. It will just order new coffee for you and pay with cryptocurrencies. We have that already. Or for example, you tell your car to park somewhere, and the car, like the sensor in the car, will find a parking space, a parking lot for you, park the car and pay via cryptocurrencies. Basically, the sensor who found this thing will pay for it. Bosch, a German company, is developing this right now. Mercedes-Benz does that for their trucks. The whole logistics system. I mean, we have all of those things right now. And it's not theory. It's working already. It's there. People use that. Companies use that. So, of course, we can see that cryptocurrencies will basically explode because it's the money of the blockchain. Simple as that. And so what I think is that there is not only this basic cryptocurrencies that you use for the blockchain technology, like the tech things and the health things and the logistics and all of those things that we can do with the blockchain. Also cryptocurrencies, and that should be maybe our next topic. Cryptocurrencies is also for payment solutions, P2P, between people. It's a means of savings, maybe passive income and all of those things. So I think we should talk about that now. Do you think we have talked enough about the market and can now go to cryptocurrencies as a decentralized finance means?
Yeah, of course. What I truly believe is that the blockchain and the cryptocurrencies, you just said that it's the new internet. And why do I love it so much? Well, because you don't need the middleman. The whole data transfer, writing the data on the blockchain and all that could be done only by yourself. And therefore, you don't need a middleman. It's completely decentralized. And that's the sweetest part and the most beautiful thing about the whole technology. So
yes, absolutely. And I also think that privacy is a very important part of all of that, because you never know what your government maybe in your country is doing or will be doing in the future, or a new government will be doing in your country in the future, or So privacy is something that is, for me personally, very important as well. And I'd love to integrate that into our cryptocurrency project in the future. I've been using Ghost from McAfee. Is it okay to say that? uh, uh, because he is not among us any longer. I think everybody knows the story of McAfee. And yeah, that's maybe what happens to you when you do a privacy coin. I don't know, but there are other privacy coins, and I think privacy is definitely a very important thing on the internet today. It's good on the one hand, maybe bad on the other hand, because all those people who think they are anonymous, they FUD and they betray and they lie and they steal money and they are fudding and all of those things. So that's the negative side. But basically, I would consider privacy still a very important topic, and being able to do with your values, your assets, your money, whatever you want to do. I think that's very important, right?
Yes, and by the way I think in this way is that privacy is a must in some regards, of course. I mean, sometimes some operations they should be more public. People should know about them, right? But especially when dealing with finance, there might be this. You might be in a situation where you just said it. You're gonna be facing some fraud or some suspicious people because they could be completely anonymous. But at the end of the day, I think we see this in the traditional world as well. You could see this on the internet, on the centralized finances. And I truly believe as long as you're educated and you're familiar with the whole technology, how to use it, then you're good to go and you're going to make the most out of it. That's what I think, of course. But speaking about finances, I think there should be privacy for some people, of course, who wants that. So it's an option for you, of course, if you like it. But I'm sure people will completely understand what we talk about just by giving some simple examples about payment systems on the blockchain, cryptocurrencies, how they operate, how they can generate you passive income, for example, as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's just talk about decentralized finance and compare that to traditional finance in this moment. Um, Maybe I just ask you, what is decentralized finance?
Well, if we talk about the centralized finance and centralized finance, I'll give you a very quick and simple answer. In decentralized finance, there is no middleman and you have the complete privacy and control of your money. If you compare those specific characteristics of the decentralized finances to the centralized finances, you're gonna find out whenever you have money in the bank, for example, you don't own your money. Your money is being owned by the bank. So whenever you have to make a payment to another country or to another, it doesn't matter. Whenever you make a payment, online payment to someone, you're gonna have to kind of pass KYC, review all of your info, and therefore, which is not bad, of course. We need this with the current system and the whole world situation, and that's why blockchain can change, of course. But using decentralized finance sometimes might be a bad idea again because you don't own your money and there's always some middleman. So blockchain fights that, fix this problem, and that's why I'm so excited about the finance industry in the blockchain industry. It's so interesting. There's so many possibilities, and it will definitely change the world, and it is happening already. So it is beautiful moment to catch up and just learn more about the blockchain, the payments, how it works, what are the limits, if of course there are some limits, but yeah, what do you think? What are the advantages and, of course, disadvantages of the centralized finance compared to the centralized finances?
I remember when they came up with Bitcoin. I've been studying computer science and economics, and so with my computer background, I was always watching to this tech news and all of those things, and so I was quite aware when they built something like Bitcoin. I wasn't invested in the very beginning, but most of the people that I know, like from my friends, they had an eye on that, and it was interesting. So they made this decentralized money, which is basically distributed ledgers, like a big database. And I think everybody today knows, quite everybody knows what a blockchain is and how it works. So they invented this blockchain money. And of course, that's very interesting because the people can just create an account. And of course, you have to do this onboarding. You have to somehow get your money onto the blockchain, or you have to get some bitcoins first, right? That's why we use centralized exchanges like Binance, Kraken, and all of the big names, maybe small names. You can buy crypto with credit cards directly, and you can do that from like a mobile app or an app on your computer. You can just go there, click buy cryptocurrencies with your credit card. You enter your credit card details and buy Ethereum, for example, or I think BNB tokens and all of the other things, Bitcoin. I think the interesting thing is when Vitalik basically and a few other guys invented Ethereum and introduced smart contracts like software running on a blockchain. Not only like an Excel sheet where you have accounts and balances on the blockchain, but run software. So it was possible for the first time, that was 2015, to run code there and to write automated software and be able to mimic traditional financial products like lending, certificates of deposits that we're going to talk about later, which is basically something that Rex uses as a model. And this is really so exciting. We have most of the traditional finance products, we have that on the blockchain today, because we've been developing all of those things for like 7 years now, and we have all of that, and the people can just onboard, get some crypto, and use all of those blockchains out there and use all of the financial products directly. And as you said, without any middleman and without third-party custody. When you hold custody of your tokens in your app, or just, like on the blockchain, and you hold the private key and nobody else, then you control the crypto and nobody else. And that's the interesting part about Rex as well, that the Rex users hold custodies of their tokens. And they can even invest, like put their tokens to work to earn them some rewards without giving away control. And that's exciting because that hasn't been available to the people some month and years ago. That's quite brand new. And of course, that's an exciting topic. And I think that's the main difference. That's what you asked to traditional finance, that you really own the money. I mean, when you, for example, put money under your pillow, like fiat money, printed money, dollar, euro, yen, whatever, you put that under your pillow, it's basically your money. Is it your money? Can they take it away from you? Maybe even without taking it away from you? Of course they can. They can say, okay, this has no value any longer. You can throw it basically away. They can do that overnight. So everybody who gives out a currency to the people basically controls the currency. And when you have a decentralized currency like Bitcoin, Ethereum, and all the blockchain cryptocurrencies, they can't take it away from you. And you have those keys, and it's in your custody. And you trust the blockchain, and that is enough validators like miners. So the risk is decentralized, and there's a lot of people right there. We can be quite sure that even, especially those big ones like Ethereum or something, they cannot just break overnight. And so you hold custody for your tokens, and you can even bridge them to other blockchains if you need to. But I think holding tokens in your own custody is surely the best thing that the whole humankind can dream of. This is decentralized money, and I think we kind of have an obligation to use that. as people. I don't know. What do you think? It's a great chance for the people, right?
Yes, of course, of course. You just said that whenever like the government gives money to the people, of course the government controls the money, and that's obvious, of course. And blockchain is a great solution because you don't know when they're gonna print money. You have no idea when will be the next bull run for them, when they're gonna print some money. And that's always bad when they do that because your money loses value over time. But that's not the case, for example, with Bitcoin or Ethereum, because it's coded. You don't need a middleman. You could easily see how many Bitcoins will be out there or how many Bitcoins will be minted in the next couple of years. Therefore, you don't have to ever worry about um, privacy, first of all, then printing money, second of all, and third, you are in complete control of your money. So we are on the same page 100%. The humanity needs decentralized money. So it is a great invention, and there's a lot of space to improve, to expand, to get new technologies available, new applications, new opportunities, services. All that is coming out
Yeah.
every single day.
I think we could also mention that the world population, that is something like 7 to 8 billion people right now, right? We have around 3 to 4 billion people who are documented and banked. So they probably own a house and a car, and they have a passport, and they probably made some debt at some point. They have a bank account, and they have a lot of insurances. So maybe their car crashes, and so they have that covered. And we have around 3 billion people who are undocumented and unbanked. And those people, they probably live on any land. They don't even have any proof where they live. And the even the house they live in, if it's theirs or not, they don't have passports, and they don't have a bank account, and they can basically not participate the whole world economy. And they have no insurances and nothing. And so you could now discuss if that's good or not good, or fair or unfair, or whatever. Fact is that this is the current situation, and a lot of people that are on the way to be banked or documented, they will surely be, maybe, that's what I think, maybe better with using cryptocurrencies in terms of getting them banked, at least, so they can participate the things that you need a bank account for. You can do most of the things today with, at least many of the things today, pay for services, whatever, when you have cryptocurrencies. You don't even need a bank account. I mean, for example, when we do a project like Rex, we have to pay for a million things, for all those social media things, 1,000 accounts that you need for running websites and all those services, cybersecurity services. You need to pay so many things. And when you are banked via blockchain and cryptocurrencies, you can pay for all of those things. Especially when you have, for example, a credit card that runs with cryptocurrencies. Yeah, just pay with cryptocurrencies directly. And what we can see today as well is there is a lot of online shops who have this cryptocurrency checkout. So you click on PayPal or whatever, you could even pay with Ethereum directly, with some stable coins or Bitcoin. All of this is possible today. And there's a lot of people in the world, millions and even billions of people who did never have access to those things. And as long as you have an internet connection, any smartphone, you can install an app and suddenly you're banked. And that's crazy. That's really crazy, and I think that's good for the world as well. And so that was just a small thing to mention, but I think it's very interesting to have like the whole world banked. I think that's important for like humankind to not exclude people. Rex is a project as well who wants to include people and everybody. And yeah, I just found that important to mention that. So yeah,
Sure.
do you want to add something? What's your opinion on that?
Yeah, my opinion is, I mean, I guess everybody who believes in the blockchain and the cryptocurrency industry, they know what is the potential of the whole industry. They know it's gonna change the world, and that is completely fascinating me because imagine that this was not possible until the blockchain industry. But think of that. You could just open your phone, you could go to a specific platform, and you could buy a house in, let's say, another continent, in a place where you have never been. You could buy that with cryptocurrencies, and now it's completely yours. And this is so interesting because in some countries that was not possible before due to some regulations, and that was a problem. But now you could just simply buy a house or pay for any kind of services you want just by using your phone and avoiding any regulations that may play against you, of course. So yeah, I think you just mentioned why it's so exciting, and I truly believe what you said. I truly think what you said. So yeah, we are witnessing something great, by the way, because I think the blockchain right now is in the same situation like the internet 20 to 25 years ago. There were so many people who were so skeptical. They were talking about like, it's just something that is gonna last for a couple of months or years, and then it's just gonna disappear. But look what's going on. It basically changed the whole world, and now we are witnessing the next change of the world, which will be the blockchain and cryptocurrencies.
Yes, and also using Web3 technology, and I think that's really amazing. And absolutely, I'm totally on your side. That's a crazy time, and the development cycles are so short. There are so many things. May I ask you? You just talk about there are maybe no regulations when using cryptocurrencies. Can you lose some words on what do you think in terms of regulations? Are there any? Should there be more? And would that be good for crypto?
I would say yes, we really need those regulations, because without regulations, there is no way you could adopt the cryptocurrencies to the current business models. I mean, in some countries, the cryptocurrencies, they're not even financial instruments, and that's a problem because if they're not financial instruments, you could not use them as payment method for your company, for example. Therefore, you can't integrate them. So I truly believe there must be cryptocurrency regulations. In some cases, this might be a bad decision, um, because we all know that the blockchain, the whole idea is to be completely decentralized, trustless, so you could remain anonymous, and that's the goal. And sometimes the regulations, they may kind of change this, make it more public, let's say. But in any potential situation, we need those regulations. We really need them so we could integrate the cryptocurrencies into the current business model. It's a must, in my opinion. But what do you think? What do you think? What's your opinion on the regulations of cryptocurrencies?
I think it in the same way. When you want to have really broad adoption and really integrate this technology and their possibilities, there must be some sort of regulation. We have some countries in the world who started trying to do that, right? Like, for example, when they made Bitcoin a legal tender in Southern America. That was something very new and surely something exciting. So it's a legal tender. You can actually pay with Bitcoin, and the banks do accept that, and they try to integrate it. And there are countries in the world who do some sort of blockchain laws, how, for example, all those different financial products on a blockchain are being handled by the governments. And of course, that's absolutely important in my eyes. How to, in terms of integrating that and creating mass adoption. And sometimes it seems that cryptocurrencies are still, when I see the European media and look, like, for example, watch television, and there's those public television stations, and they talk about Bitcoin like sometimes it's something dangerous or something, and that's weird. And but you can also see more and more documentations. For example, they explained Ethereum and other blockchains as well. And sometimes today they start talking about it as it was natural, because it has been there for some years, and everybody starts to understand that this is something. And of course, it is a market, and and it's the new internet. It's there and it works, and people use that already. But sometimes you can even see that in your public television stations, they sometimes cover the stories very badly, and they seem to have no idea what they're talking about. And then you have these the crypto Twitter, and people are using their own language, and it looks like a nerdy place somehow. So I think it's very important that we have regulation in the future, and also that we are trying to build products and technology and websites and interfaces for the people, as well as education for the people. Imagine your grandparents still living, and other very old people, and you're trying to explain to them what this is. So we need to do that. Of course, we have a generation who is like the young generation, who is already growing up with such things. So you have applications today where cryptocurrencies are integrated, and you can, for example, for good content that people create, you could tip them with some cryptocurrencies. Maybe just send, just $1 or something via the blockchain to good content creators. People grow up with that today. But there is also a group of people who have no idea what that is, who have no idea what the technology is. And I think we should keep educating everybody out there and create better information, basically. There's a lot of things on YouTube that you could watch, but we should go more into mass adoption, of course. It will be necessary anyways, because that's how our world will work in the future with blockchains and cryptocurrencies. It's obvious. It's obvious right now, right? So that's the one thing. And the other thing is, when we have that, we have the blockchain and the cryptocurrencies, and everybody uses that, whether they know or they don't, why not build better financial products as well? We have this decentralization, and people are able to have and hold their own money and their own custody today. And I think that was the idea to build Rex, to have a cryptocurrency for everybody, and to make it usable quite good, and to try to explain it quite good. And that's what we're doing the whole day, development of all this explanations videos, and what this is and why and how, and what staking is, what decentralized finance is. That's the reason for our talk today, right? So maybe we should go a little bit deeper into the different options that you have in decentralized finance, and how to maybe make money off this. I mean, at first, cryptocurrencies is a growing market. It's now like around $1 trillion market, something like that. And obviously it's growing bigger in the future. So just having cryptocurrencies might be considered a good thing. And of course we have market cycles. For example, we are quite low at the moment. We talked about the bear market before. And I think this is a very good time to enter cryptocurrencies, because everything is so cheap. It's like a summer sale, basically. So it's a very good time to get in and to learn about it. And So what we should do now is maybe speak a little bit more in depth about decentralized finance and the possibilities that we see there. Maybe we could list some of the possibilities that we have. When you want to earn money with cryptocurrencies, you could just hold Bitcoin, right? Buy and hold Bitcoin or Ethereum, or there is this website coinmarketcap.com, for example. It's a popular one, or CoinGecko. You will find that, and you can see cryptocurrencies and their market caps and what they basically do, and you can learn about some of the projects there, and yeah, you can find something that is interesting to you. We have, let me just start with listing some. We have products that are like lending. So like you bring your money to the table and you lend it, and people can borrow it and you will earn something from that. Like in traditional finance, we have something like certificates of deposit, something like REX, which is a certificate of deposit. People lock up their tokens, they buy the tokens and lock them up, and they earn rewards from that. It's delayed gratification, of course, as well. And yeah, do you want to continue this list, Jonko? What do you have on cryptocurrency possibilities today? What is there? Lending, certificate of deposit?
Well, you could also provide liquidity to the decentralized market, and there's some interest for doing that. So the options are even more if you compare it to the traditional finance, because it is trustless, decentralized, and therefore everybody could contribute to the whole cryptocurrency market. And therefore you could see that every day new protocols are coming out, new ideas are being released, and that's always good to see people improving the whole space, but also giving you a good way to probably earn some passive income. And as you know, you mentioned that certificate of deposit. I think it's one of the most used financial tools in the traditional finance, of course, so people could get some passive income. And that's very interesting, because the certificate of deposit offers quite different conditions compared to the banks, for example. But certificate of deposit are great and well known, as they give a quite better return rate. So what would you say if you are about to compare the current reward rate from the certificate of deposit in traditional finance and the certificate of deposit on the decentralized finance? Tell me, where do you find the differences? I mean, it's, yes, the decentralized finance, it's completely decentralized, trustless, but if I'm completely new to cryptocurrencies, why would I choose the decentralized certificate of deposit, for example?
Certificate of deposits on the blockchain are what people who don't know about cryptocurrencies that much, I think you could consider it some sort of next generation savings account. So it's like you have your own wallet and you have some money in it, and then you could lock up your money and earn interest from that. And in traditional finance, of course, you need a bank or similar financial institutions to do that for you. You cannot do that yourself, right? You have to go to a bank or somewhere who offers that. So that basically you don't suffer inflation, but you put your money to work, right? You invest your money. And certificates of deposit are interesting because it's more of a long-term investment. And that's so important because there are market cycles. And when you go long-term, 5 years, 10 years, that are typical things for certificates of deposits, then you kind of break market cycles as well. So you live through the bears and bulls. There are several projects. For example, in Rex, you have the possibility to not put all your money into one certificate of deposit, but create many of those. And for example, when you go to a bank, you mostly would, I think, create one and maybe deposit your money for like 3 years, because you think that in maybe 3 years I want to buy something. And they pay you like I don't know, 5% per year, maybe something like that, 3 to 8. I don't think it's even 10, but let's say 3 to 8% for a deposit. I think when you deposit like 5 years or something. So the good thing is when you do that with your bank, you do not spend the money on other things, but you really have to consider, okay, what am I gonna? I really need this money in 5 years, so I'm gonna put it to work. I'm saving it right now, and then I can use it later, and I even earn a little bit interest or rewards. It's not that much. It's just to not suffer the inflation, right? Because the inflation is something like 2.8% over the years. So you're just a little bit better than inflation. When you do that on a blockchain, the APRs, the interest that you earn, are much higher. We see something like 10, 20, 30, even up to 50 or 60%. Of course, there are some protocols out there who promise you something like, I've seen that 100,000% per year, which is, of course, not sustainable in the long term. So, but there are good protocols out there, and I would say Rex is such a protocol who pays you with something like 12.9% per year. And for example, in Rex, you're able to raise those numbers when you stake longer. Of course, when you lock up your tokens for 10 years, you will get definitely something like 40%, 30 to 40% per year, which is, of course, a lot more than in traditional finance, comparing the durations. When you lock up your tokens in traditional finance for like 10 years, you maybe get something like 8% per year, and or even less. And when you do that on the blockchain, most of the protocols, and for example, Rex does that as well, will offer you something like 30 to 50%. The interesting thing is that the traditional finance is quite limited in terms of, let's call it special features. And you can do that as a project. You can build anything in your smart contracts to give certain perks. For example, if people spend money on, let's call it a boost token, Rex has something like that. So when you're an eager user and you're you use the protocol a lot, you could consider to buy, for example, a booster token and get a higher APR than other people who don't want that, don't need that, are not interested in that, just want to make a few stakes. But so what I wanted to say, on blockchain certificates of deposit, you surely have more options to create more interesting products, more rewarding products, and basically, as on a blockchain where you hold custody and you as the user interact with the smart contracts directly, and you don't have to pay any middleman, and nobody holds custody for you. It's just this one decentralized running software that you are interacting with directly. Of course, you don't need to pay any middleman. You don't need a manager of your funds. You don't need nothing. You do all of that yourself. And that saves a lot of costs, of course, obviously. So I think these next generation savings account, which Rex is as a certificate of deposit on the blockchain, is surely something very interesting to long-term orientated investors who also want to have quite a good benefit. And it is a good benefit when you do that and earn, like, let's say you use some of the mechanics and put everything in there that you can in terms of boosting your APY. You can have something like 30 to 50%, and that's obviously a lot of money. And how does this work? It works because there are so many new people joining cryptocurrencies that it is still sustainable, and you don't have all the costs because it's just this piece of software running there. Of course, as a project, you have to make sure that the software works very well, and so you need to have at least 1, 2, or 3 audits. That's why Rex had 3 audits on the code, because there is no administrator, there is no bank who has your passport and in case of doubt or in case of losses, they could refund you. So it's just you and the software. So any project always must make sure that the software is audited by market-leading audit companies like CERDIC or I don't know, Solidity Finance and others. And that's the most important thing, to be sure and to be as safe as possible as an investor, to only invest in things where you know that the team has provided all of those things. Basically, you're investing into software and it has to be safe. So you have to audit this a lot to make sure it runs like forever in best case. And of course, also to make sure that all the details, we speak of tokenomics, right? That's the economics that are in the software, like how all the staking protocols, all those certificates of deposits and the durations and how much money you earn per time and all of those details, the so-called token economics, how they play out. This has to be checked in the audits as well. And that's very important that you have the full code fully audited, in best case by several companies. So that's what Rex did, and that's what I think.
Rex is a smart contract designed perfectly to create financial freedom for everyone, forever. Rex.io.
You just mentioned out there that every protocol should be audited. Of course, I truly believe it's a must, because whenever you're about to release a protocol that deals with finance and you generate, let's say, stream of value and give it back to the people who are staking in this case, it's always important to have the best numbers out there to be very sustainable, not just for a couple of months or for 2 years, but it should be sustainable for the very long term, because that's what Rex is for the people who are focused on long term and the passive income. You just mentioned the code, and I think there is some good news that we can talk about. What do you think about the code? There are some protocols where the code is not published, or people cannot change the code. They're not sure if this is a protocol where the code is very secure, very safe. What do you think about that? About the visibility of the code to be public?
I think that's very important. I think some of the people listening right now know that we have had a previous version, a first version of the Rex protocol on the blockchain, and we did not make those audits. I mean, we had a security audit that the code couldn't be hacked, but we did not run full audits because they are very expensive, basically. And we have been testing the code on the so-called testnet, and we did that and simulated the code running for years, for decades. And we have been running those tests 14 times on the code. And a lot of people have been joining those testnet scenarios. And it's interesting. We did all that. And we also included the community, Yongo, as you remember. And so all the people have been testing this. And still, when we decided to put that on mainnet, it turned out that one of the numbers was not correct. And the protocol was creating a lot of inflation. So the people who have been staking earned a lot of rewards each day. They earned like 30% interest per day. It was decreasing, it was going down. And we were thinking, okay, it's going down to the numbers that we desired, but it didn't. And this turned out like 3 months into the protocol. So that was a horrifying scenario. We had those very high interests and we could see that it's not sustainable. The numbers were going down, but still there was really an error in the code. And there was another thing. One of the booster tokens was too powerful, the T-Rex. Like 2 or 3 months into the protocol, one T-Rex as a booster token that was worth something like 1 BNB, like $500 at that time. The value of this booster token went to half a Bitcoin. So because it was too powerful. And if we had had 3 audits, or just one full audit, or 2 or 3 like we have now, we could have made sure that those errors would not be in the code, because those auditors check the code against the white paper. You write everything that you want the code to do in your white paper, and you write the code, and then the auditors, of course, check the code for security and for all of those things, and they also check if the code precisely does what is in your white paper. And if we had full audits on the first version of Rex, they would have found those errors. So even when you do a lot of test nets and you're testing all of these things with the community, you still cannot really be sure that the code exactly does what it should. That's what we learned. And that's why we revamped the whole code and have it triple audited, because that's something that you have to do. And what we did in the first version of Rex is we published all of the code, so everybody would be able, and was actually able, to see the whole code and to audit that for themselves. The Rex code has the very big advantage that there are a lot of comments in it. And it's all English. So if you understand English language, you can basically, by reading the code, basically understand what happens there. Of course, if you're not a computer scientist, it's a problem to understand certain types of functions or some things right there. But you could literally understand what the code does. And of course, it's better for the auditors to understand the code more quickly and more in depth, why you, as the programmer, did all of those things. So I think it's very important to publish the code for everybody to be able to check it. I know, for example, from some people that have a lot of cryptocurrencies and could be considered rich people. They always check the whole code, and they want to do their own audits before investing. I mean, in general, I can totally understand when people say, okay, when there's an audit and the audit report looks good, I just read the report and I'm fine. I don't need to see the code being published and verified on the mainnet, which means on the blockchain where the real money is, right? So yes, from my point of view, I always love to see the code. When there's a new project, I always look into the code. But for that, of course, you must learn to read code. If you're listening to this and you're 20 years old or 30 years old, learn how to read code. That would be my advice. Because when this is the new money, and everybody could program new money, you should learn how this is being made, actually. So nobody could trick you. You just learn how to do that. You don't have to invent that yourself. But being able to read code, and it's not that complicated. You just do an online course and learn that in like 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks. Or 1 month. That's basically the efforts you have to put in to, for the rest of your life, understand the technology that the people give you and consider that money. If you have this knowledge, that's certainly an advantage for you. So my idea would be that young people should definitely learn how to make that, or at least how to read that, in terms of not being tricked. That's very important. A lot of friends of mine who are into cryptocurrencies ask me all the time to audit some of the code when they find a new project. And that's really important today, I think. So yes, I like to see code published. I'm okay with it when it's not published. I know why you say that right now. In the actual and final Rex version that is now online and usable and triple audited, and it's really running smoothly since month now, basically since the end of June. So since like 3 months now. We have not published the code in the very beginning, not all of the code, because we wanted to protect our inventions. We have invented something for decentralized finance that hasn't been there before. To put it in one sentence, imagine you deposit money and you lock up your tokens and they are there. And this thing, we call that a stake, like a deposit, this earns you money. The tokens are locked up, let's say for a year. So you couldn't use them for a year. Like in the deposit, you couldn't use them for like a year. And when it gets mature after a year, you get your principal back plus the interest that it earns. And we have invented something in Rex that this deposit that you just created, you can send that to other people, and you can even trade that on a decentralized exchange without any middleman. And that hasn't been done before in DeFi. We just invented that. You can imagine it like an eBay for deposits. You have a deposit that is maybe, I don't know, $1,000 in Rex tokens and running for 1 year. And you can just put that on this, let's call it eBay for stakes, and tell the people, okay, this is now worth like, I want, I don't know, $1,200 for that. And the offer is valid for 30 days. Then anybody else could see that thing and just buy it from you directly and transfer the money to you and get the stake in return, this deposit, in a decentralized way. Rex has invented that, and it's a very interesting feature because all the other staking protocols out there, especially the old protocols, they don't have that, and Rex invented that. So we haven't published the code in the beginning because we wanted to protect this intellectual property, right? So yeah, but we have seen that a lot of people are like, they were very nervous to not being able to see the code. So we finally published the code in the last days. And now our audit reports point to the published mainnet contracts. And I think that is something that is very important in terms of transparency. Transparency and decentralized finance, I would say that is always more important than protecting some intellectual property or something. And when people are, I don't know, when they have uncertainties, and then publishing of the code should always be considered, absolutely. We wanted to publish the new Rex code right in the beginning, but it was basically, and that's the truth, you can read that on the Telegram chat in the main group, people did not want us to publish the code because they did not want people to copy it. So there would be Rex copies. It's possible to copy like any code that is published on the blockchain, which is good because technology adoption and further development is so much faster when everybody publishes their code, right? But still, the Rex people did not want that, so we were thinking about publishing that later. And yeah, so it's now day 77 in Rex, and we published the code because the people, I think. It was just necessary to publish it. We wanted to publish it anyways, and now people have been asking so much for it. And in terms of some of the people with a very big money, they've been asking for it. So in terms of investment, security, it was just necessary to do that. But my personal opinion is you don't always need that. When the audit reports are good and the protocol seems to run smoothly, then you could invest anyways. But I would always, of course, suggest people or, tell people to look up the code. Unfortunately, most of the people can't read code. Unfortunately, a lot of people don't read the audit reports, even if you have them. For example, Rex made a hackathon, and a lot of functions that we use in the smart contracts are precisely explained in the hackathon report. And people have been asking for the code, and they did not notice that the code is actually in the hackathon report. So they did not read that. So why do they need the code if they don't even read the reports, right? Yeah, that was just a little side note. But anyways, okay, I hope I answered your question. So what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, the code, sometimes you don't need it to be public, especially if, let's say, you're a person who cannot read code, And I would also suggest everybody out there who is capable of learning new skills, improving himself, just try to get more in touch with the blockchain from a technical perspective, because it has a lot to offer for you. Not talking only about finance, of course, but also about connections and people and exploring a completely new world. However, just like you said, sometimes, yeah, the code might be visible, but first of all, if you can't read the code, this doesn't matter, of course. And if you have all the audits, just like in Rex, we have this triple audited protocol, and all details have been explained in those reports from those companies, so you could really understand how the code works. And that's brilliant. But again, sometimes you just don't need that, especially if you're not good with reading the code. You could just make sure it's been audited, because that's very important. And then you can just make your decision based on your own analysis. So I would, let's say, always do your own research.
Have you ever invested into a token that has not been audited?
Yes, I did that, which was not audited, right?
Yes. And
yes.
So
I mean, during the very first years when I got into the cryptocurrencies industry, there was so much to learn, by the way, and this was the moment where those smart contracts, the whole new world of smart contracts was exploding, and everybody was so hyped. It was the very early beginning, so people started investing in some different protocols, and we all did that. So I did that. I've put money in some not audited protocols, of course, but I would say it's always good sometimes to make mistakes, because that's the way you learn. But of course, if there could be a person or a community or a team that could teach you so you can avoid those mistakes, that's always beautiful.
Yes, absolutely. And would you say that the audited protocols usually have more users or are really safer than not audited projects, or is that a difference at all?
I wouldn't say that. I mean, it might be safer. It will be probably safer if there is an audit. But what I saw and what I see, so basically every day, I have friends who sometimes invest money in different protocols, but those protocols are actually, they're not real. They give you some fake promises and so on. So
Do you think that there are more high quality projects today, or do you think the number of really good new advanced protocols is decreasing, or is it increasing?
That's very hard to say, because you can see every day new blockchains being released, new protocols, new developers are coming to the blockchain, and you can see this expanding, a whole new level of expanding. It's so fast. New protocols, new applications are coming out there. Yes, we see the level is going up, like more secure protocols are being released, better applications, all of that is coming out, but also we can see a lot of protocols that are not secure and safe at all. We see this every day. And what I would say is that the audit is not necessary to make the protocol safer, but it could be the opposite, of course. So make sure always to read the report. Whenever there is a protocol you're interested, you would love to invest in that protocol, and there's an audit, just read the report, because they basically translate the code to you so you can get a better understanding. But look at Bitcoin, look at Ethereum, and all those so big crypto tokens, coins, sorry. They are magnificent. They have this huge potential. They were the first in this technology to give such an amazing value, but also they don't have an audit. So what I would truly say is, if you check out the code, how it works since it's been alive, and if there are no admin rights, of course, and there are no additional rights to certain amounts of people, then you could be quite safe. But of course, do your own research. Always do this. And in regards to your question, if we are seeing more secure protocols, yes and no, but I can definitely say we can see huge improvements, a lot of developments, and Rex is the perfect example, by the way, as it's been triple audited. You could see that the protocol is running for approximately 70 days, and it's running perfectly. There are no issues or whatsoever. The interests are great. People are using code that they're satisfied. So yeah, quite hard question to answer, by the way. What do you think? What's your opinion on that regard?
Yeah, you were going into the right direction. That's what I thought. I think it's absolutely necessary from a development perspective to have your code audited afterwards. And as said before, also compared to the white paper that you wrote, what you expect the code to do. And you always need a third party to look over your code. I think that's absolutely necessary because, yeah, just talking from my own experience in software development when I was a student, but also from the Rex 1 project, the first version that we made that had this, it was just the wrong number in the contract. And that made it not sustainable forever. And when we had an audit, the auditors would have said, hey, you are saying the token amount inflates by 5% per year, but the code actually lets the token supply inflate by, because the wrong number is wrong, by like 9 point something percent per day. Not even per year. So this very much too high number in the code that wasn't intended to be there, was intended to be different, basically made the code not sustainable. So that's really not cool. And you cannot be sure to have all the complex things that you can put into a software on a blockchain. You cannot expect, even especially when it's a more complex protocol, you cannot expect that all those things will work. You always need to have somebody, third-party auditing company, to use their standard measures and go through everything and read it with like new eyes and review all of those things you did there and compare it to the white paper. It's absolutely essential. For me, it's an absolutely red flag if people don't do that. And what we have seen in the past is, give you some examples, right? We have seen copies of the first REX protocol. We published the code, and then there was a copy a few months later, a token protocol with just 3 letters as well, who copied the REX code, and they added a new feature, and then it turned out it doesn't work. It doesn't work. Contract broke. You could somehow trick their auction phase, and because they just changed something. They wanted to make it better in their eyes, and they said, okay, we don't need audits because we did one testnet and it works. And it hasn't, because you could game the protocol. And when you do audits, the likelihood for such things to happen are much lower, of course, because you have to write in your white paper what you expect the auction mechanics to be. And if they are not, the auditors will find that. And especially when you do several audits and even a hackathon like Rex did, the auditors will find such things. So And then they made a new version and it failed again. So because they did not do audits. So I would never buy something without an audit today when I go for long-term investments. Of course, there is something called a meme token, which is basically like a face of an animal, and that's the logo of the token, and the token has a certain mechanics in it, and we call that meme tokens, right? And there have been one or two very successful ones, because basically Elon Musk shielded to explain to the people, hey, this coin is going to be an actual currency on the Mars when I go there. And people started buying that for whatever reason, because everybody did, everybody else did, right? It's crazy. And then other meme tokens with the face of a dog, or then there were others. Those tokens are considered to be pump and dump tokens. Everybody knows this is not really a long-term thing, but there will be a time when a lot of people will jump in, and then there will be some parabolic charge, and at some point all this will fall down like crazy. And there will be a lot of people who still say, no, we're going back up, but they wouldn't. And so those meme tokens, I mean, when you see all the people, when you see such a thing, and you see all the people are going in, and you know from when you think about this thing that a lot more people will join, and the price will most probably rise, you could gamble on that. Just jump in, maybe take some profits and sell. But when you think of long-term projects, this is trading basically, right? This is trading. It's very risky. It could die tomorrow, and maybe you wouldn't even notice, or you're looking at the chart the whole day. That's annoying, right? Looking charts all day. You could trade. Of course, you could trade. And you could go for things who are not audited. You could absolutely do that. Just trade on things where the hype is. Trending tokens. Just trade on them like crazy. Try to get a 2x, like double your values. You invest $1,000 or something and try to make it 4,000 or even 10,000, and then get out of it as soon as possible. But this trading, of course, is not sustainable, and of course, this is not how you build wealth. Everybody knows, or everybody should know, that there is no way to make money quickly. There is no way. Everybody who promises you can make money quickly in this and that project, and we have this cool economics in it, and it works forever. It doesn't. It doesn't. It's just for the very few early birds who go in there and buy very low, and then maybe eventually this thing rises to some point, and you are really trading. It's a high-risk short-term trade that you're doing right there. You maybe double or maybe even 10x your money. That's fine, but you have all the risk, and you're sitting at your computer and watching the chart. And this is not how you build wealth, right? And you can look at the statistics, how traders, day traders, are doing over the year, or stakers. Easy as that. You can look it up.
I would say 90% of the traders are losing money. At least that's what the statistics are saying.
Yes.
So
statistics are like 99%.
Yes.
So
I would say the meme tokens are more of like a way to speculate on a price and look for something more quickly. But just like you said, the risk is very high. And therefore, if you're looking for something very sustainable for the long term and something like a passive engine income machine, it should be something like staking. And for example, in this case, this will be REX, a certificate of deposit. And I think you were about to say that staking has much better performances compared to trading. More people are ending up in making gains and ending up with quite good profits compared to the traders. Is this correct, or?
Yes, absolutely. That's what I wanted to say. On the one hand, I wanted to make the distinction between the long-term investment options that you have on the blockchain, like lending protocols, staking protocols, like REX, for example. And then there are all those meme tokens. that are basically just like a fun trading, short-term, high-risk investment. It's still considered an investment, but this might be going terribly wrong for you. And it's time-consuming, of course, to find those trending new tokens, and then you have to really time the market. You have to find the perfect time. Maybe you're late already, then you have to wait for the next one, right? So you have to time the market. You have to go in very early, and then hopefully this thing goes up and not the other one that you're not invested into. So you have to spend a lot of time timing the market. And again, this is not how you build wealth. Building wealth always takes time, always takes time. And if you do that in traditional finance, we all know this takes a lot of time. You could go for certain financial products that give you like 10 to 20% per year. So doubling your money will take a lot of time. But in crypto, all of this goes much faster. And in crypto, you also have the advantage, like let's just assume, for example, the staking protocol REX, where you do your deposits and you get like 20 to 30, even 50, using the boost tokens, even up to 59% interest per year. Then you could expect to, for example, when you have 100 REX tokens and you stake them for longer than the average, you will have, because longer pays better, when you stake them for 5 years, you will have a higher interest rate than the short-term stakers. So what I want to say is when you do the stake, you don't only have more tokens because you earn this rewards for locking your tokens up. You also probably have some sort of price appreciation. So when the token is being promoted and more and more people use it, like Bitcoin, like everything else, of course it has market cycles. For example, in REX is quite cheap at the moment. We have those auctions as a distribution mechanism. And while this auction phase, the token supply is being increased a lot. A lot of new tokens are being minted every day by the people participating in the auctions. And we are basically in this phase, which is 222 days. And now it's like 78 days into the protocol. So there are still 100 something days to go. And in this auction phase, where we give the tokens to the investors who participate in these auctions, we are inflating the token supply, which means basically that the price will like go down. And also there's this bear market at the moment. So there's like $15,000 as investments coming into the daily auctions at the moment. It was higher in the beginning, so that's interesting as well. You can see here that when we launched, several 100,000 have been coming in the very first days, and then the auction participation was declining from day to day, because of course all the people that have been waiting for the protocol invested in the very first days and did not spend their money over the whole 222 days, for good reasons, by the way, because there are certain mechanics in the protocol that it's better to invest earlier. But what we can see right now is, as in any auction-based distribution mechanism, that there's some sort of bottom. Anyways, it's always good to have some sort of staking protocol, because you do earn rewards in the token, so that when you see the market cycles, and let's assume you buy in a bull market, like at a high price, and then the price goes down, you still have more tokens. So in general, staking tokens are more or have a higher price stability than other tokens. So I would assume that staking tokens in general are a very good idea in terms of long-term investment. And regarding the current REX investors, I'm absolutely sure that in the future, when the price recovers to what it has been, all the investors will be absolutely fine, because the price decrease that we see right now is not forever. It's a market cycle, right? So When people understand staking better, when there are more people joining cryptocurrencies, it's obvious that those audited long-term projects, like Rex, they will certainly be there in the future. And other projects, for example, meme tokens that grab a lot of attention in just a few weeks and rising like crazy and then going down. This is, of course, less sustainable because what the people are doing, they are trading. And it's just very risky. And again, I think that's not how you build wealth. Every project who promises you to pay you like 1,000% interest in just a week or something, that's just not serious. It's just BS, what we say, right? So yeah, that was a lot of talking, right? So I just wanted to make sure that everybody understands that the long-term things are obviously how you build your wealth. And in the Rex project, you have a lot of opportunities, a lot of possible strategies, even how you do your depositing. You can create something like a staking ladder. You could Google that quite quickly if you don't know what that is. Basically, you create a lot of stakes, and every stake is ending like 1 month after the other. So you have in your future, you have one stake ending every month, and you can then do whatever you want with the ending stake. You can just cash it out, or you could reinvest if you don't really need the money. You could consider this some sort of passive income, or you just create one fat stake for 10 years, which obviously will pay a lot of rewards. And in Rex, you are able to withdraw those already earned rewards. You can withdraw them from the active stake and spend them and cash them out. And that's also something very interesting in Rex. Or if you need money, you could sell a whole stake on the decentralized exchange for stakes. What we just said before, that's a very interesting invention of Rex. And this decentralized exchange for stakes will start on day 111. That's just in a month or something. So, and this is very new to DeFi, and this gives the stakers in Rex even more possibilities and flexibility in terms of their asset management. And that's very interesting. And you can do all of those things and still be in control of your cryptocurrencies. You hold the custody. And yeah, that's absolutely necessary, important. And so I think in summary, what we have in Rex, and that's the reason why we build it, is we are really promoting and educating as good as we can on why to use long-term investments rather than high-risk short-term investments, and go for staking. And of course, when you do something like long-term staking, like a next-generation savings account, which Rex is, you should definitely choose a protocol like Rex where you have all those flexibilities and also have a very high interest rate. And in Rex, it's also possible to influence your own interest rate. And that's interesting as well. So yeah, I'm personally a really big fan of long-term investments because all of the other things are basically bullshit. And most of the people in trading or when trying to trade and trying to do technical analysis of all these charts, which most of the time is absolutely bullshit, especially in very young tokens, and they are trying to do technical analysis and then they fail, and then they fail and they lose money. And that's horrible. If everybody would just go for long term, then it would be awesome for everybody. Of course, when you need money urgently, you're maybe tempted to just try to trade some trending token. Totally get that. Totally get that. And you could still do that. I mean, you could still do that, but don't rely on it. You at least have to consider also using some of the long-term staking or lending protocols out there who pay you a good interest rate per year and stick to them for years and use those mechanics at least as well. Don't rely on trading only. Find a good staking token, buy the dips, get in early, and enjoy passive income forever. that's the idea of Rex. That's how it has been designed. And as we can see, it works absolutely flawless. It's really working seamlessly, and yeah, that's what I think. So I don't know. I think you're here for the same reason, right?
Yes, staking is, in my opinion, in my eyes, much better. But what I would suggest of the traders, sometimes I'm so fascinated because I used to trade. I tried so many options out there, but what I've learned is that you shouldn't put all of the eggs in one bag. So I strongly support what you said. It's always good if you're a trader. Yes, don't rely on this, but actually try to see also for the long term, for the passive income, see what can secure you of that. And I truly believe Rex has been designed in that way where you could, yes, you could trade the token, and if you want, you can do that. But also, just like you said, you can also open several stakes. You could sell them on the decentralized exchange for stakes. So many possibilities, and that's what I really enjoy, the whole flexibility of the protocol. So it's an amazing option. So during the auction phase, which lasts 222 days, I would definitely say yes, we see the less and less money are being invested into the daily auction. That's correct. You could see that in every protocol out there which uses the auction token distribution mechanics, right? But what I truly believe is that we have to educate people and teach them that the long term is the way to go, because that's, of course, in my eyes, the only way to build wealth. It's in the long term and not just in a couple of weeks, where some protocols promise you of that, but that doesn't work at all. It would never work this way. So during those 222 days, we're gonna see definitely sometimes the price skyrocketing, then doing some corrections, which are good, but it's more of like an accumulation phase. So my suggestion would be that the current market situation, the bear market, and those very low prices gives you this, could be once in a lifetime opportunity to get on board, get familiar with staking, secure some tokens, stake them, and get passive income forever. Because that's the whole idea of Rex. You could do staking ladders, just like Thomas mentioned, which is great, and you could Google that, and of course you could get more info on the internet, because there's so much information about staking ladders. You could also jump on rex.io, where you could find so much useful information, where you could educate yourself and get familiar with the Rex protocol. So yes, staking in my eyes is the way to go, and especially in the long term.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, that's very interesting what you just said about the bear market and the opportunities. That's absolutely true. Yeah, okay. I think we covered some of the topics. We have discussed the market, and we talked about DeFi and different opportunities that you have there. Maybe we can talk some more details in the future and in our next talk. I think we have spent some minutes on all those things. I think people are expecting some updates from you as well in terms of the REXAVERSE, which has been announced to be a part of the Rex ecosystem or the Rex project in the future, and has been suggested to be a place where people can meet and do several things. And people could imagine it to be some sort of metaverse where you use your mobile phone or your computer, you go into an internet website, you can even connect your cryptocurrency wallet, and you can then interact with other people online and be like in a virtual world, like in a metaverse, where there is some sort of buildings where you can do several things and you can meet other people and maybe have some education there. And we all know, most of the people listening, maybe you don't know, maybe you know, maybe you don't. Some of the people know or don't that you that you have been developing such a thing for Rex, actually, which is amazing. And so you spend some days, weeks, and months on doing that. And I know that from the talks with the community, some of the people are expecting to learn more about that. And you already announced that there will be a trailer introducing the REXAVERSE and the possibilities of that to the people. Could you say, is this trailer, when will it be there? When will you be able to introduce it to the people? And maybe you can just summarize what will be in there.
Right. Yes, the REXAVERSE, or what a lot of people are calling that kind of platform, the metaverse, is a place where people can connect, communicate, and teach each other about cryptocurrencies, finance, passive income, etc., etc. So that would be the main idea. The main idea would be to connect people and educate them, of course, showing them a lot of the info, because there will be certain people that, let's say, they do some business, they go to work, they don't have the free time, therefore they're not going to spend time in the REXAVERSE. But there are some specific people with time, or people who'd love to connect with other people and get to know them a bit more. They're going to use the REXAVERSE, and it's a place to connect, talk with each other, learn more about Rex, staking, and cryptocurrencies, of course. So we announced the trailer, and the trailer was completely ready. However, what we decided is that there should be some small changes in the whole REXAVERSE in order to make it much better, the experience to be smoother for the user, and all of that. So I would say the trailer will be out soon, couple of hours. So it's just a matter of time. It will be definitely within the next 24 hours release. And what's gonna be there, right? So people will be able to see the whole map, what it looks like, what they can do there, what are the limits of the REXAVERSE. And also, we're gonna release some details like it's going to be cross-platform, and that would mean you might be playing from your browser on your PC, but your friend might be, he downloaded the whole metaverse and jumped into it, so you could still meet each other. So that's awesome. And there are gonna be weekly events. We're gonna be hosting KMAs out there to educate people. But basically, the trailer is going to review details like the whole idea, purpose, what the maps looks like, what you can do there, which includes a lot of videos on what is crypto, what is staking, what is Rex, how it works. All those videos were integrated there, and people could just jump in and educate themselves and see how all of that works. So it is exciting because it's connected to the blockchain. You could talk to each other, you could chat, and it is awesome too for some people to connect with each other, but also a great addition to the Rex ecosystem, because new features are being added, improvements, developments, step by step. We could see the whole Rex ecosystem expanding. So it is interesting, it is exciting. And again, the teaser, it will be released in the next couple of hours. Let's say within 24 hours for sure.
Okay, I think we've all been waiting for this to happen at some point. We didn't have any certain expectations like within the next 24 hours. I think when it's ready, it will be ready. I think it will be very cool to have that, because we are always looking for new possibilities to connect to people, Cryptocurrency is a topic that is complex, and we know that people love to talk to each other, and even as a group, and just exchange their ideas, the information, their experiences, and their knowledge. So this REXAVERSE is certainly a place where people can do that. Yes, so we're really looking forward to that. And if it's in the next 24 hours or 84 or in a week, I think all of that would be fine. And I really think that the experience that people have there is not so much, of course, of a technical question, but more like just talking to people and having this social component in there, and not if like every tree looks perfectly like a tree. You know what I mean? I mean, sure, I'm absolutely sure that it will be beautiful and that there will be a lot of possibilities in it. But I think it's just good to have this this place of connecting to other people and sharing experiences. And of course, it's very cool to have like AMAs in this virtual world. And yeah, so thank you very much for doing that. Let me say thank you here on the internet to you for doing that. I think it will be awesome. And yeah, looking forward to that. Okay, perfect. So maybe let's come to an end in the next minutes. I think people who have been listening until now learned something about cryptocurrencies, hopefully, and some details as well. So let's maybe just talk about one thing. If I asked you, okay, Rex is something I maybe should consider. Two things. Where do I start to research about Rex token? Where do I find the audits? Where do I find maybe something to learn? How do I onboard? How do I start Rex? Where do I begin? I'm now seeing this video and listening to those guys. Where's the resources? Where do I start? Yonko, where do I start in Rex? What do I do?
All right, so the best option that you should consider, and the first thing actually that you're gonna have to do is to get to the main website, which is rex.io, because in there you're gonna find all the links that are required for you, so you can get so you can get the whole idea of the protocol, right? So there is a whole onboarding process where you can learn more about how to get some cryptocurrencies, how to get them on the correct blockchain. But you could also find those audit reports. You could find some links to our Twitter, to the Medium platform. And by the way, we have so much articles out there which are explaining about Rex, about the whole idea, how it could work. So, for example, we also have a link, which is Linktree, and it basically has all of the necessary links to the website, to the whole application. But I would strongly suggest you go to Rex.io, check all of the info out there. There is a button which says assist, but also FAQ. So if there is something that you don't really understand, you could just click the button, find the information that you're interested about, and then just read and learn more. Also, there is the white paper out there where you could really get yourself in more details and find exactly how all the tokenomics actually work. That's brilliant. And I would strongly suggest everybody to go through the white paper and get themselves familiar with the protocol, how it works. However, in case you have more questions and it's still not quite clear for you how to use the protocol, you can also join our Telegram. And there's so many people out there, brilliant, intelligent people, part of the Rex team, and also investors, brilliant people, smart people who are willing to assist you or just give you some good information or just a point where you should be focused on. So that's a starting point. Go to Rex.io, read the white paper, check the assist, check the FAQ. You should be fine to go. And if you want to look how all of that looks like, the whole application, of course, you can go to app.rex.io and from then you can just explore the whole functionalities of the protocol.
Brilliant, brilliant. Absolutely, I think you covered all of those things. There's this main Rex website. You have all the links in there, all the information. Also the links and information how to onboard if you don't have cryptocurrencies to date. You will be taught how to do that, how to set up your applications, your mobile phone, for example, and how to get crypto with your credit card. All of those things are there, and also you can, of course, check other YouTube videos and find that, but we have quite a good collection of all of this information as well. And yeah, then you have cryptocurrencies, and you can get some Rex tokens, and then you can stake them. That's basically what it's all about. To create some sort of staking strategy. And of course, we have quite a community with several thousand users and members. And you will also find the communities, the link to the communities. There's a Discord, of course. There are several Telegram groups in all the languages, actually. Or in many languages, from English to Spanish to German to Bulgarian, for example, and of course Chinese and many, many other languages. You just find your community and you can ask questions right there. So there's a lot of crypto. There are a lot of crypto interested people who have some knowledge and a lot of knowledge. There are some very brilliant people in Rex. And yeah, so you can just exchange your knowledge there and or ask your questions. Perfect. So, Jonko, is there anything else? Maybe we do another video about staking strategies later, because we've been talking for some hours, I think, right now. So, what do you think? We will definitely make another Rex Talks, right?
Yes, it should be like serious. It won't be the first and last one, but I think we had quite good 2 hours conversation, and I really hope that people are enjoying this conversation. They learned something about cryptocurrencies, and yes, in the next talks we could talk about strategies, staking ladders, all of the potential possibilities out there that you may use so you can build your financial strategy so you can achieve your goals. You can have a lot of topics and discussions on that regard. So I think it's a great idea to host another one and talk about all those possibilities and strategies. Definitely.
So for the moment, I would say thank you very much for listening. We will now have questions from the community. So if you followed through our conversations, there might be points that are not clear to you, or you want to discuss, or you want us to elaborate on certain topics that are interesting to you. You have now the possibility to just ask us, and we will answer them right away. So thank you very much for listening so far, and I hope you enjoyed it as well. Thank you, Jonko, for being here and having this discussion with me. I found it very interesting. It's always cool to share your knowledge and talk about crypto and how it affects people's lives, what it does, and it's really amazing for me. So thank you very much to everybody listening, and let's now continue with the AMA. Just ask us anything. So, I think this was a very interesting talk, and I'm very happy that we received a lot of questions. And yeah, awesome. Let's just go through the questions. At first, I hope you all enjoyed the talks, and How did you like it, Yonko?
I really enjoyed the whole conversation. It was a good one, and I think we shared very valuable information. And I really hope some people learned something from today's conversation, or it was at least interesting for them. And I'm so excited about the questions because there were some great questions. But overall, it was a great talk. So thank you, everybody, for listening. And we're excited for all of the questions.
Yes, and we've been asked to add this information that none of this fireside chat obviously is any financial advice. We're not financial advisors, and this is all for educational purposes and whatever that means. And so we're just sharing our views and experiences here. So whenever you listen to this, just make sure that whenever you find a new cryptocurrency or project that you want to join, and this is not only valid for cryptocurrencies, but also for this is basically, yeah, applicable to any investment that you do. Always do your own research, read all the documents, and try to understand the whole thing before you invest, and never invest money that you can't afford to lose. That's a very important one. And when you go to the Rex paper on rex.io/paper, you will find all the security informations that we find interesting, all the things that you should always be aware of, so that you don't take any risks that you don't have to take. Okay, perfect. So let's start with the questions. I think the first question was, what's Rex's biggest challenge? Maybe, Yonko, you want to explain something. What's the biggest challenges that you see in Rex?
It's a very interesting question, especially during this market cycle and situation. And I would say the biggest challenge for Rex right now would be the current market situation, because we see it's a bear market. There is a lot of fear, confusion in the market, and that makes some people to step out the DeFi, and the activity of the market, of course, goes down. And this is a challenge which we actually fight by, let's say, spreading content on the social medias, but of course, educating people and constantly improving the Rex ecosystem. For example, by releasing new developments or constantly achieving new milestones. So, yeah, I would say the current market situation is a challenge, but I would guess it's a good time for everybody to actually think of this situation as a phase where you can accumulate as much tokens as you want. Let's put it this way.
Yes, that's absolutely what I think as well. In terms of the other factors, like, for example, the smart contracts themselves, we don't have any challenges in this regards because they are unchangeable forever and audited. I see the current market situation as the biggest challenge as well. So that's why we're here and educating and speaking about Rex. Good one. Let's move to the next question. Who is our primary target investors? Yonko, what do you think? Is it just the whales or is it regular people as well? How do you see this?
I would say Rex is for everybody. Even though if you're a big investor or regular one, or you're just looking for something to experiment with to see how cryptocurrencies work and passive income, I would say Rex is for everybody, especially during this bear market, because this is when wealth is being generated. So it's a great opportunity to educate people and let them know that this bear market, it's something that happens all the time. Uh, we see those prices, so we call all those things like market cycles, and this is the perfect phase where you should accumulate tokens. So Rex is for everybody, and it's a great moment right now to get some cheap Rex. That's what I would say.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I think as well. Very good answer. I have nothing to add, basically. So let's move to the next question, which is, some say that 12.9% inflation rate per year, I might add, is too high for Rex. What are your thoughts about this? If you ask me, I think that 12.9% inflation rate is not too much, because this is something that when onboarding new users who want to have tokens as well and become a part of the REX protocol, is easily something that the REX protocol can handle. And when we have, just a little fun fact, we have done the math on how the token supply will increase over the next 42 years. And we came to a 25x in the token supply after like 42 years. So if you want to join REX and are thinking about becoming a long-term investor, you can be quite sure that the token inflation is made in a way that is very long-term sustainable. 25x the token supply means that we need to onboard more users in the future. When you think about what we just said in the interview, in the fireside chat, when you think about that, how many new people will onboard to crypto and will want to become a part of sustainable staking protocols like REX, then a 25x in the token supply over the next 42 years is like nothing. And there is another thing we might add. 12.9% inflation means that if you stake your tokens in an average way, that's some sort of the APR you might expect when 100% of the people stake, when 100% of the tokens are staked. So consider a staking percentage of like 50%, then you will have an APR of around 25%. And let's just put another example in Hex, another staking token, around 10% of the people are staked. And this is fair because when you think of the token being available at centralized exchanges, the people will just buy it there and keep it there and not be able to stake because they don't use the smart contract itself, but just have the tokens at the centralized exchange so they can stake. So if REX goes to centralized exchanges in the future, which will probably be happening at some point in the future, then you can be sure that a lot of people will have their tokens on, let's say, Binance or Kraken or whatever, and they won't be able to stake it via the smart contracts. Thus, the people who have the tokens in their own custody and stake them there will have a higher APR than it would be the case when there would be no centralized exchanges involved. Was that too complex, or it was just my thoughts on the inflation rate and the APR? Yonko, do you want to add something to the inflation rate? What do you think?
It was a great explanation, and I just want to add something else. Some people may be thinking like the APR is a bit too hard, but if you think about it, we have the auction phase, and during this phase, liquidity is being generated, which makes the price very much, it's quite stable over time. In the future, it's going to be very stable. So that also secures the possibility of having this APR, and also all the audits, the reports, and the APR and the rewards are proving how that it is sustainable and the numbers are looking good. But of course, there's a lot to improve. But great answer, by the way. Love it.
Thank you.
A very interesting question, by the way. Do you believe there are some individuals who want REX to fail? Are there some people who are dumping the REX price?
I do analysis on what happens on the blockchain regularly, and what I see is that indeed some trades happen who are fairly insane. Imagine there are people going into the auction spending, that's what I saw just like yesterday, I think. They spent $3,000 on the auctions, received the tokens, and dumped them. They basically claimed their tokens from the auctions later. They did not stake them, so they're not eligible for big paydays. And so they had them liquid in their wallet. Then they collected all of those tokens that they gained from the auctions and they sold, like dumped all of them. And you could easily see, because all the contracts are published, right? You could easily see that those people lost like 70% of their money just by doing that. So it's quite obvious that this is not like trading to make some gains, but there are individuals out there who just want to try to game the protocol, which is not possible, but they really harm themselves and they want to make it look bad, obviously. So they are trying to game it, but it doesn't work. So it's a little bit weird to see that. And the other things that we can see are like that the people receive Rex tokens for the referrals that they make. I think everybody who is interested in that may read the white paper and the explanations in there. Basically, it works like if you refer people, like in a friend's program, so they join the Rex auctions, then your address, your account will receive 10% of the tokens that they receive from the auctions. And you don't have to stake them. You just claim them liquid as the referrer in your dashboard, so you have them in your wallet. And of course, you might stake them, but we can see that a lot of people just sell them. And this leads to a regular, small, fairly small, but a regular dump. Like every new Rex day, we can see that there is a very small down in the chart. I mean, we're not. It's a long-term project. We're not looking at the chart, do we? I mean, of course we do, but it just wants to give this explanation. There are free Rex tokens for the referrers, so some of the referrers obviously dump their tokens, which is okay. It's their money, it's their tokens. They can do whatever they want. But yes, to come back to the question, we do not only believe that there are individuals who want Rex to fail. We know that because Rex, if you've been around for the last couple of weeks and months, you have also seen that some malicious people really took a lot of money and tried to DDoS attack the Rex website. And indeed, they sometimes managed to get the Rex website a little bit slower or even down. They were really attacking our servers. So we had to improve our security. So we've basically hired a cyber security company that protects banking websites, and this costs a lot of money. But yes, so we absolutely know that there are a lot of people who actually want Rex to fail. I mean, the good thing is the smart contracts are indestructible forever. It's not possible to manipulate them by humans because there is no owner and no admin in the contracts. So the protocol will run forever and you can't destroy it. It's on the blockchain. But you could attack the website. So that was a thing, a problem we had to handle with, and we solved that by spending more money on that. But yeah, so we're absolutely sure there are some weird individuals out there. And you can see that by some of the FUD comments. I mean, they are not even true. They are making shit up. But still, they are trying to do anything to what we assume is they're trying to protect their investments into other tokens. So that's why they want the FUD Rex, which is some sort of game they are playing there or just protecting their investments. But we can absolutely see that, yes. And those individuals are probably also dumping the Rex price. But hey, at some point they will be washed out and don't have any power any longer. So that's okay. In the long-term run, it will not be noticeable. And even I think when the bull starts playing out in the chart and in the whole market situation, then those people who still have tokens or don't have any more tokens most probably will be onboarding again because, when there is money to make, all those people will maybe FUD or maybe stop FUDding because they can make money then, right? So yeah, this is how I see it. Jonko, do you have anything to add?
I think you covered the whole topic in a very good way. And yeah, so I think there might be those people, but still our focus is rather improving Rex constantly, spreading the word out there, and constantly onboarding new people. And we achieve this all the time. So we're so excited for the Brew Run, by the way, because the possibilities out there during the Brew Run are there are much more possibilities out there. So it will be much easier. We're going to be getting this momentum. So we are excited to see this.
Yes. Yeah. And another question would be, what do you think? Are you somehow worried, or what are your thoughts about the governments coming up with regulations And do you think, if so, might this impact Rex and even other staking coins? What do you think?
It's an interesting question because we see new regulations coming out every day. We see a lot of regulations, by the way, from China, but also from USA. However, I don't think this will be ever a problem simply because Rex is completely decentralized and trustless. Therefore, you don't need a middleman. You don't need permission to use Rex. You just need to have a Web3 wallet, which could be MetaMask, Trust Wallet, or any kind of wallet which is designed in this way. And you just need some tokens on the blockchain and you can operate regardless of any regulations. However, the problem might be there if you decide to convert your cryptocurrencies to fiat money. That might be a problem due to the regulations, and that's where I think the regulations are playing some role.
Yeah.
So the personal regulations, but this won't affect Rex at all because there are millions of people already owning some crypto tokens or coins on the blockchain. So the market is there, the potential is there. So I don't think it will ever be a problem for Rex, by the way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and even if you suffer from not being able to use websites, for example, because of regulations, you could always use VPN tools or something like that to basically pretend to be in another country to be able to use some services. And yeah, I think we have to deal with regulations in the future. And as said in the interview a few minutes ago, I personally don't think that regulations are bad at all. Um, there are a lot of people who are talking to people who are making the regulations, and I think the whole cryptosphere is doing the best they can to get regulations that are fair for the people. Of course, there's no guarantees or anything, but I think regulation will, just to repeat that again, also be a way um, for finding more adoption for the people. Could be good, could be bad. Let's see how that turns out. In terms of the Rex protocol, will be safe for years to come. I'm quite sure you will always find a way to onboard and offboard tokens, and so I don't see any problems here. So there is nothing to navigate in this very moment. That's what I think. So Yonko, do you see any opportunity for Rex to collaborate with another coin? And if so, which one?
I would say every opportunity out there which may help Rex to achieve mass adoption or improve some numbers and of course attract new investors is a good opportunity. Of course, if you get the right offer at the right time and there is this chance for us to get new people on board and get Rex even better protocol with new features and new developments, of course that would depend on the offer, but yes, we might be interested if that's going to help Rex, but until then we don't have any updates in this regard, I think so. But yeah, why not? If there is something that may be helpful, why not? What do you think, by the way?
um, Collaborate with another coin. I mean,
When you're talking, that would be interesting, by the way.
yeah, if we talk about other crypto projects who are doing some sort of things that Rex could use, why not? But I mean, if you talk about something like Shiba Inu, how can we collaborate with Shiba Inu? I don't know. So this is kind of a complicated question. I think when the community sees opportunities for collaboration, they will always get and reach out to us and suggest us something. Everybody's invited to suggest collaborations, of course, with the Rex project. So we're absolutely open to that. But currently, I don't see anything. So I would be very grateful to receive such collaboration offers if there are any. If you have an idea, just reach out. Okay. So, do you want to add something, Andrew? No.
No, not at all. I mean, you said it. If it's something that's gonna have positive impact, definitely. And just like you said, we are very open to any offers, potential relationships with other protocols. So it will be interesting, but let's see. Um,
Okay. Could you recommend a course for coding for a complete beginner? Let me give the answer for it first. I have studied computer science, so I thought I wouldn't need that. Of course, I did. I didn't take courses, but I just used the internet. There's so much information when you just Google how to write smart contracts, for example. There is so much information on the internet. You will find it easily when you just put that into Google. Yonko, do you have any better recommendations or more precise recommendations?
there's a lot of information out there on the internet, by the way, which is great because um, it's 2022. You basically have access to any kind of information on the internet. So it's a great tool where you can get a lot of courses, tutorials, and you can educate yourself and improve some skills. But also, what I believe is that Harvard, the university, they released some free courses in regards to blockchain and coding. So that might be also an option. So feel free to check this out because I think this is something that can help you in the future and could definitely open a lot of doors for you.
Yeah, absolutely. So now there's an interesting question. Um, have you convinced whales to join Rex? Will they come in through auctions or PancakeSwap? What do you think, Yonko? Or what do you know? Give us some insights.
Um, I would say a whale would be a person who has some capital, which is going to be distributed um, in a very interesting way. And I would say they might choose both options, auctions and PancakeSwap, by the way, especially right now, by the way, because if you're about to put a bigger amount of money, for example, if there is a guy who wants to put $50,000 in the protocol, he might not do this in just one transaction, but he could put certain amount of BUSD in the auctions and also buy from PancakeSwap. So there are a lot of opportunities out there, but I would say they might put a bit more through the PancakeSwap. What do you think, by the way?
Mm, what I know from the people that I know is that they do absolutely a mixed strategy. It depends, but all the whales that I know, they went already or they are waiting for to be participating in the auctions, of course. Like, let's just say 50% and the other 50% buy on PancakeSwap directly. That's what I heard and what I know and what I already experienced and what I've seen on the blockchain happening. So I think it's a mixed strategy to not miss the big payday options that are in there, but also buy on PancakeSwap and be more flexible with the liquid tokens that you buy on PancakeSwap. Because when you just join the auctions and claim your stake, then you have a little bit less flexibility, but you're eligible for big paydays, right? For the rest of the auction phase. And you can win multiple times, so that's cool as well. But it's only one stake, and at least it lasts at least 222 days. So the whales that I know also want to buy from PancakeSwap, of course, and they are trying to DCA in. Not that much at the moment because most of them, or like 50% of them, are not quite sure if this is the bottom already. So this is something we have to see right now or in the next days and weeks if there is this bottom. But then I'm quite sure they're gonna, how do you say that? They're probably gonna FOMO in. That's what I heard.
Sure, I think a lot of people are waiting out there for the bottom, so they would FOMO in, just like you said.
Yeah.
Sure.
So to answer the question, yet it will be a mixture of PancakeSwap and of course the daily auctions that are very interesting as well. Okay, so the next question is, will the DEX for the stakes take away REX buyers from buying REX from the open market and thus impact the price appreciation? Good question. So, Jonko, do you think when the DEX opens on day 111 that less people will buy REX, or because they might be buying the stakes directly, or do you think this is not that important, or what's your opinion about that?
I don't think this is going to impact the price appreciation and will make the buyers go to the DEX instead of the pancake swap. And the reason for that is because sometimes you may want to build some specific financial strategy. You may want to use a staking ladder or completely different strategy, of course. And therefore, you're going to need your tokens liquid. So you could open your specific stakes with specific numbers, or you might just want to hold them or trade them. Therefore, I would say the DEX is just an addition to the whole REXaverse, because if your question is this going to impact the price appreciation? I would say no, because having the DEX also prevents the price to go down, because people will be in a position to sell their stakes on the DEX and not on Pancake Swap. So I think no, it's not going to affect the price appreciation potential. And there's still going to be people buying from Pancake Swap, of course. It's actually going to attract a lot of people, and they're going to have this flexibility of choosing if they're going to get a specific stake, because it's going to be, it's going to work less compared to if they're going to buy the tokens from Pancake Swap or the opposite. So it actually gives a bit more flexibility. It's a great tool, amazing one. It's something that totally changes the DeFi space in my eyes, because you may trade stakes with institutions on the blockchain, with some people that you don't know, but they're interested in buying your stake. So that's very interesting. I'm so excited about that, by the way.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Me too. I mean, such a DEX for active stakes has not been done ever before. So this will be the first time that we will be able to see that on DeFi and how it plays out. I mean, like you just elaborated on that, one could consider some of the factors in there, how it might turn out. But of course, we are all very we will be very surprised how it will turn out. I think it will be good to have such a thing in terms of flexibility. Yes, what you just said, Jonko, absolutely. Basically, I've nothing to add. But maybe you want to explain the next question: what will happen to Rex price after the auction phase ends? What's your thoughts on that?
There's so many ways that the whole price, the whole chart is gonna turn out, because it's all about how we're going to present the whole idea. It's about the current market situation, of course. But what I truly believe is when the daily auction phase is about to end, we are about to experience the beginning of the bull run, which comes at the exactly perfect moments in my eyes for Rex, because this allows us to get even more people on board, and therefore get even bigger adoption. And just like we talked a couple of minutes and hours ago, you can see a lot of regulations happening all day, and this allows a lot of people to be adapted to the current market, right? So we're gonna have even bigger market out there. So eventually, more users, and therefore I could easily see the Rex price going on much higher levels compared to now, simply because the people won't be also in a position to accumulate tokens from the daily auction phase. That would mean less tokens being generated every day, and therefore less tokens to be sold on PancakeSwap. So it's going to be so interesting. And I think that's the moment where actually Rex is going to start to reveal its whole potential and really get all the people on board and generate passive income for all those people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. What I've seen also in other protocols that had auction phases is when they all did a good job and the protocol was good and the tokenomics were quite sustainable, what we've always seen is some sort of rise in the price. That's what I have seen. So I would definitely expect that for Rex as well. You just gave the reasons for that, what I understood. So yeah, I would definitely expect the price to rise for the aforementioned reasons. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, good. Oh, there are more questions. Let's just jump into the next question. Um, if Rex doesn't follow future regulations or such, could Rex be stopped or sanctioned in any way? What do you think?
No.
No,
Uh,
of course
no,
not.
it's a very
No.
direct answer because doesn't matter the regulations. It's always happening on the blockchain, and your code is immutable. You can't change it. You can't stop it. You
Okay,
can't shut it down.
okay, but
So
imagine the following. So if they, like your authority knows that you, for example, live in the United States and it's, let's say, forbidden for any reason to use Rex because of regulations, because they say that, I don't know, staking is evil or something like that, and they know you're using that because they know your addresses, so they know your accounts, and they see that you do that. I mean, of course, you couldn't be stopped because you hold private keys, and unless you don't give them your private keys, they can't stop you. But do you think they could sanction you when you bought cryptocurrencies when it was still legal? Do you think that's
mm,
possible?
I would say it all depends on how all the regulations are going to turn out, but I would say they may regulate some people in specific countries by applying very strict research reviews and monitoring on their accounts, and by requiring additional documents for proving their ownership of the wallet. However, this is one thing, but that would never stop Rex because the whole code is mutable. So it's a question that could be answered both ways, but Rex cannot be stopped. However, there might be some regulations in some countries where they strictly monitor everything you do, and
Mhm.
they require such documents. Yeah, then you might be restricted, but I would say if that's the case, you'll be restricted to use, I would assume, any other cryptocurrency on the Binance Smart Chain and not on the Binance. But I don't think we are going this direction, but it's a very interesting question, by the way.
I think all the questions are interesting.
Yes,
And the
sure.
other question is, the 12th question is, could Binance block Rex in any way on Binance Smart Chain? For me, that is a clear no, because you can't just take those things out of the blockchain, and why would they? I mean, in this case, they could just delete any token if they could. Um, all the people, all the servers where the Binance Smart Chain runs on, they would need to delete all the. You just can't do that, I guess, right? You can delete just all the transactions that have been there. How do you do that? I mean,
You
you could.
can't blockchain. That's the idea of the blockchain. You can't change a data that has been already written. So
Yes, I mean they could go back in time and like fork it, like a reverse fork. But why would they ever do that for any token? That doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense. I mean, there have been um, very big scams in the past, and hacks in the past. And I mean, it was only a very few times that the people running a blockchain decided to fork it because of those things. And this was only a very few times, and it was huge hacks then, so that the whole community were like 50-50, just go on as it is, or no, we have to fork. And when you have some sort of situation like that, then it might happen that the blockchain is being forked. But no, you cannot just block any token, and of course not Rex, just away from the smart chain. That's simply that's impossible. And as well, it's impossible to somehow stop Rex. That's not possible. It will be running forever, and there is no way to change it actually from a technical perspective. And there is no reason for Binance to do that, I guess. And yeah, it wouldn't even be possible from my view. Okay, there's another question going back to the other questions with the dumping on on the Rex token shelf that is currently happening a little bit on a daily basis. And the question is, do we expect these kind of activities of minor dumping from the auction? Will it end when the auction ends, or do we think it will continue in some ways or other ways after the auction? My answer to this would be, it's a cryptocurrency, and people always dump on cryptocurrencies like they do on Bitcoin daily and on Ethereum and all the other tokens. That's just market behavior. There are so many different people out there who have their plans, their ideas, or are forced to do something. When you need money and the only token you have is Rex, and you need money very urgently, or you get heavy problems, uh, everybody would dump the token then, right? So I think this is the question. This is not a specific question for Rex. This is a general question about cryptocurrencies, and dumping is always a good thing because it enables other people who want to onboard and get some tokens to get them cheap. You can, every coin has its two sides, right? So when there is a fat dumping, listen, when there is a fat dumping, but there is no reason for that because the protocol is good, it works, it's sustainable, and the community is cool, and anybody dumps for no reason. So why is that not good? It is good. It enables other people to just buy the tokens. So yes, there might be things in the future. What we see on the blockchain, people will dump. You will see a red line in the chart, and you will also see green lines in the chart in the future. So that would be my answer to that. Do you want to add something, Nico? What's your thoughts?
I would love to add something, by the way. I know that you're so interested and excited when you analyze some data on the blockchain, and you always do that because you can make some very good assumptions and you can get some valuable information out of the blockchain, right? But I was thinking about, all right, let me check the top 500 tokens out there. Let me see how they performed over time. And guess what? There was always a cryptocurrency that dumped like 80% or 90%, then recovered, did all-time high, then dumped again. And I think that's because the market is very volatile. Sometimes the people need money or they just feel interested in a different product. But I would definitely say that we are yet to see the price going up and the chart turning green. Um, so yeah, that's all I wanted to add.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Perfect. Good. That was a good answer. There is another question. When it is about the REXAVERSE, so it's basically for you, I guess. And the question is, when connecting a wallet to the REXAVERSE, does it create an entry point for bad actors to steal funds from a connected wallet? And how do you ensure it will be secure?
Lovely question, by the way, because there should be a lot of research, which of course we did, and we studied the whole process and how the connection works. And you know that MetaMask is basically is Web3 injected wallet. Um, Therefore, no protocol or website or whatever has access to your private keys. They're being managed by MetaMask, regardless of the platform that you're using, right? Yes, the smart contracts for some protocols might be tricky, they might do something, right? But we talk about something completely different here, which is the REXAVERSE. It just connects the protocol to the user who is in the REXAVERSE. So the user uses a Web3 wallet, which could be MetaMask, Trust Wallet, or any other Web3 wallet, right? And that wallet actually manages your private keys. And those private keys are, let's call it something like a password to your wallet. It's a phrase with some random symbols and numbers which is used so you can make transactions, right? So it's being managed by MetaMask, and there's no risk at all to expose those private keys simply because they're being managed by MetaMask. So there's no way, even if a person wants to get your private keys, by tricking the MetaMask, that's not possible. Of course, if there is a front-end attack or something like this, people might be tricked or something like this. But nope, overall, there are no risks at all. And of course, we're gonna get all the codes to people to check that, to make sure it's all safe. We're doing constantly tests, but all of that is secure and nothing is being exposed. You're in complete control of your data. So I would say no, there are no risks at all.
Okay. That's what I thought, because when you just use the wallet that you have, like MetaMask, there are no other risks involved that wouldn't be involved anyways. Basically, you cannot steal like the private keys out of the wallet or something, because that's just not possible. And I think there are no information revealed from the MetaMask wallet of a connected user. I think basically that's what you just said. There's nothing like that is being stored in the metaverse or on the metaverse servers. So there's absolutely no additional risk involved. So this is something that is quite simple. It's like you use, for example, the Rex website, and it's a Web3 based website. So it connects through your MetaMask or Trust wallet, or any of the other wallets that are supported. And so the website itself just uses the MetaMask that you use for setting up the transactions that you're trying to trigger. But the website itself is not, unless it's malicious, of course, it cannot steal like the private keys out of your wallet or something. So in this direction, in this terms, the metaverse is absolutely safe, and for this reason, wouldn't need an audit, I guess, or I'm sure. Yes, I'm just reading the next question. Okay, if you're fine with the answer, Yonko, we could move to the next question. I think you answered it very, very well already. And the next question would be: how many developers do you have working on the REXAVERSE, Yonko?
There's not a specific number, because sometimes there are some tasks which require some specific skills, and there's so intelligent people out there which of course offer their services. They're professionals, they work for companies, and sometimes of course we pay to people so we can achieve some specific milestones during the whole process, and we constantly do that so we can make sure everything is safe and it's done in the best way possible, right? But basically, we work on the REXAVERSE and we constantly get new people to improve it, to get some features working in a more efficient way, but also making the whole REXAVERSE much more efficient and allowing more users to play. So sometimes we need some additional skills, and of course we reach out to professionals, we pay the people, we get the things done, and we are very excited, by the way, to give you a bit more details in the next Rex Talks, by the way.
Yes. The next Rex Talks, yeah. I'm also looking forward to both of those things. The REXAVERSE, you have promised to send a trailer, to publish a trailer very soon. I'm very curious to see this thing, because I don't know the new graphics that you made, and I'm very excited as well. Okay, so there are two more questions now. Oh, more and more questions. Very good. With marketing being a long-term strategy, how do you measure success of the marketing in the short term? From my perspective, what we do is we measure the several campaigns that we do with the marketing agency, for example. They measure, they send a report, and then we decide what we're doing next. Of course, it's about the click rates, or like how many people are visiting the website, how long are they staying on the website, what do they click. Of course, we can track all of those things, so we have quite a good understanding where the people do find us. Do they read the articles? Do they click the banner ads? Are they coming via the generic searches and so on? So how do we measure the success? Yeah, we do measure the success in this way. But basically, it's all about how many people join the daily auctions. So to have a true understanding of this, sometimes it's weird. Sometimes you just post something somewhere, and you can see that some people immediately join the auctions and put some money in there for whatever reasons. And sometimes people read very dedicated articles, with very good explanations of all the things, and they don't join the auctions, right? So it's quite hard to understand the psychology of the people then. And but that's always something that we discuss in the marketing groups. And I think one of the most important things that we do is just go out as a community, talk to other groups, talk to the people, explain the protocol, why we're all here, several thousand people, and invested into Rex. You can see that by the number of the wallets. You can also see, you can estimate the number of Rex participants that is surely between that is surely above 1,000 people who actually hold values in Rex, and that is not a small number, right? So what we're going to do now is be more public, talk about the ideas that we have, and the improvements that we're going to make in terms of the website, and getting everybody in the world into crypto and educating the people, and gain more users, of course. And finally, of course, we'd like to see the price rising in the future, and the only way to do that is talk, talk, talk. I mean, Yonko and me, I guess you're on this with me, Yonko. We won't be using a pole dancing pole and do twerking or such things and go viral, but rather talk some some truth about crypto, what we think is true, right?
Yes, our goal is to provide very valuable information out there to the public and show them why Rex is capable of achieving a lot. And by the way, in regards to the question about how do we measure the short-term success, it's something that it's very hard to answer. And if you ever faced with some marketing process, you will be familiar with this, and you'll be in a position to understand that brand awareness is something that is very hard to measure, but it's also essential to go for. It is a long-term target, of course, but how do we measure it in the short term? Of course, sometimes we publish article, we see new people in the group, they join the auctions, and they just put some money in the current day, and then they don't participate in the near future, right? So sometimes you don't see the success in the numbers, but what I truly believe is if we follow our plan, be public, talk to the masses, and constantly educate people, I think that way we'll be achieving small but very important steps for us.
Mhm.
And by consistency, we're going to build this long term success. That would be my addition to the question.
Yonko, what do you think will be the Rex market cap in 3 years from now?
Oh, 3 years. That sounds like 30 years in the crypto space, by the way. I think especially the Binance Smart Chain is being more recognizable every single day out there, and even more people are being familiar with it. And that allows the blockchain to attract a lot of people. And I'm talking about from small investors to people with a lot of capital and portfolio, so they can start to invest in DeFi. So I would say Rex definitely has the potential to achieve a billion market cap in the next few years.
I have nothing to add. But maybe there is another question. How it's totally like off topic right now. It was another question concerning the how to learn how to write smart contracts. What kind of course should people search for exactly? What do you think?
I think first of all you have to decide for yourself on which blockchain you're going to code, because there are a lot of blockchains as you know, and you should focus on one specific. And I would assume most of the people will jump on the Ethereum virtual machine blockchains, such as Binance Smart Chain, which we use, Polygon, Ethereum, and so on. So they have so much similarities. They're like the same. They use the same programming language, which is called Solidity, right?
Yeah.
So you could Google it. There's so much information out there. Even if you go to the official document of Solidity, you'll be in a position to get a bit of how it works. And it's not very hard. There's even a website which is designed like a game, where you kind of like build a game from scratch, and the whole website teaches you how to do it in a very interesting way, like a game. And that website, I believe it's called cryptozombies.io. So for anyone who is interested, you may go there. You can just check it for yourself. If you find it interesting, then I would suggest you just to probably sign to a very professional course and being taught by professionals. That's the way to go, in my opinion.
Yes, absolutely. You mentioned something very important. Most smart contracts out there, especially code that is being able to be run by the Ethereum virtual machine, is being written in Solidity. So you will want to learn Solidity. That's how the most of the smart contracts are being written. And there are a lot of good examples, learning platforms, all of those things. You should always stick to the website Open Zeppelin. There's this Open Zeppelin project that is quite popular and famous for writing smart contracts that you can also reuse. So there's functions, a whole set of functions, and a whole how to deploy your first smart contract, how to set up your computer, and all of those things on the Open Zeppelin website. Just find Open Zeppelin out there and just go through the process. You will be able to write your very first small smart contract within a day or two. You just go through the instructions. It's really easy. Again, like I told you 1.5 hours before, I really encourage you to learn Solidity via the Open Zeppelin documentation and just try to do that. It's A, really fun, and B, it serves you your whole future. Smart contract-based, blockchain-based currencies will be the future. That's obvious by now, by today. We know that, we see that. That's where the money will be in the future, right? So you better learn it. No financial advice, but as a personal advice, you better learn Solidity. That's really what I think. Okay, let us see if there are more questions. No, I don't have any more questions right here. So maybe we could then close the AMA for today, unless there is another question coming in right now. Are there any more questions, guys? Just ask. We're here. We will be here in the future, and we will be here when we do the next Fireside Rex talks with subsequent AMA. So our YouTube Supermaster just told us we can say goodbye now. So that's what we want to do. Janko, thank you very much for being here, for answering the questions. It was a real pleasure to me talking to you. I hope you enjoyed it as well. And yeah, what do you think? Will we have another talks in the future? Maybe next week.
We have to. I really enjoy those conversations. And I think people are in a position to learn something, or it's probably interesting for them. And it's always good to share some knowledge and some thoughts, because people may learn something from this, or they could kind of like get excited about the blockchain. Who knows? You know, there might be some people listening to this, and there might be like, all right, so there are some courses, they're free, they're accessible. Let me just try to join. It's always good to talk about this and get new people involved in the blockchain. So I think we have to have those conversations more often, and just do another one next week. Why not?
Okay.
Really looking forward to it.
I was also thinking about having some of the other Rexicans joining our talks, because we have so many brilliant people in our groups, and I would love to hear their thoughts as well and publicly discuss them. I think this would be interesting. So my suggestion would be to ask some of the other Rexicans to join us as well, or maybe even people from other groups. So we do some sort of integration with other communities and also discussing with them, maybe from other protocols who do maybe even other things than staking, and just compare maybe systems or ideas and tokens and all of those things. I think we can do a lot here. So again, thank you very much for listening. You all have a great day, and if you like, we would love to invite you and see you in our Telegram chat. New Rex Token is the name. Pierre, thank you very much for all of your questions. You are surely the winner So we're going to pay you $100 in BUSD tokens, Mr. Pierre Fermat, because all of your questions that have been answered were so good. And this hasn't been announced. It's just a spontaneous reaction because you gave us all those amazing questions that we could answer. It's so important that you did that. Thank you so much, Pierre. You get in contact with me directly or Yonko, so we can pay you this little prize, actually, a little surprise. So thank you very much for being here. See you all at the next Rex Live Talks. You all have a great day wherever you are. Join our groups, join our communities, follow our Twitter, and see you next time. Yonko, time to say goodbye.
Thank you so much. Goodbye, everybody. Thank you so much again. And don't forget, if you have any questions, just get in touch with the community, check the website, white paper, and until the next time.
Thank you, everybody. Talk soon. Bye-bye.